And every time I come to Abu Dhabi, I feel that I am missing them very much because that association is unparalleled. My 23 years of association with Abu Dhabi is unparalleled and will never go out of my life. Thank you so much. Please forgive me for any offenses I've committed during the years since struggling in devotional service. And see, familiarity beats contempt, Narada says in the Bhagavatam. That means because of the familiar, I didn't understand the value of the devotees. Now I understand the value of Abu Dhabi devotees, how valuable they are. Now I understand. So sorry for that because I was in the period modes. I was dragged in the modes. What is that verse? Kaglar Maharaj says. Atma Lagam Megadabet Ishwara Sarvatma Maigina Nicho Jaya. I am a Nicho Jaya. Diamond Guna Visarga. Anupravishtava. I am always entering into the modes. So I have acted on the modes. Sorry for all the devotees of Anshakal. Thank you very much, Girivardhari Prabhu, and I am very much grateful to Swayam Sudhi Prabhu who has given his mercy. But for his mercy, we will not be having this program. And also, of course, Maharaj, Mahamshri Goswami Maharaj and Prabhupada was allowed us to discuss the glories of the Lord. So we are should be indebted to them and grateful to them. I am grateful to Girivardhari Prabhu and Mataji for arranging this program and continuing the Mangala wonderfully. Excellently, they are doing the wonderful. They are the inspiration for our entire congregation. And of course, Swan Sundhi Prabhu, who is a spire, heading the congregation wonderfully. So this really is made this possible because of this hard work of these devotees. We are able to relish. We are just sitting and enjoying, just like Prabhupada has written Bhagavatam. Just we have to hear the nectar and chew it and digest. That's all. That's all. We have to move our jaws. So they have done all the hard work. It is our duty just put it in our stomach, in our mouth and relish it. So with this, we'll go to the Dhyana Sloka. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुसम्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् अन्तेकं श्रीगुरुं श्रीदपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं वर्षणसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् गण ललिता श्री विशाखाभितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गे राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम राम हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठकी. For reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam is a very means of conquest. One should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God and Narayana, unto Narayana and Rishi, the supermost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, by regular attendance in classes and by rendering of service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of God, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. So, we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, 25th chapter, 11th verse. This verse is very important, and actually, this is already Maharaj has spoken on this verse. He has taken a class, so it has become very easy for me. Maharaj has given all the realization. I'm just going to share, nothing from my side. So it is very easy for me actually. Rana Prabhu gave this verse. I'm very grateful to him. So it has made me easy, very easy. So now we will recite the verse. गताहं शरणं शरण्यं स्वभृत्य संसार ततो पुकारं जिज्ञासहम् अहं प्रकृते पुरुषस्य नमामि सद्धर्मविदां वरिष्ठम् तन्त्वा गताहं शरणं शरण्यं स्वभृत्य संसार तरो पुकारं जिज्ञासहं प्रकृते पुरुषस्य नमामि सद्धर्मविदां वरिष्ठम् Synonyms: tam, that person; tva, unto you; gata, I have gone; aham, I; sharanam, shelter; sharanyam, worth taking shelter of; swabhritya, for your dependence; samsara, material existence; taro, the tree; putaram, axe; jignasya, with the desire to know; aham, I; prakriti, of matter, woman; purushasya, spirit, man; namami, I offer obeisances; saddharma, of the eternal occupation; vidam, of the knowers; varishtam, unto the greatest. Translation and purport by Ziman Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Please hear attentively. Devoti continued, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you are the only person of whom take shelter. You are the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. I therefore offer my obeisances unto you, who are the greatest of all transcendentalists. I inquire from you as to the relationship between man and woman, between spirit and matter. Sankhya philosophy purport is as well as known as Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha is the supreme personality of God or anyone who imitates the supreme personality of God as an enjoyer, and Prakriti means nature. In this material world, material nature is being exploited by Purushas or the living entities. The intricacies of the material world or relation between Purusha and Prakriti and or the enjoyed and the enjoyer is called samsara or material entanglement. Devoti wanted to cut the tree of material entanglement and she found a suitable weapon of named Kapilamani. The tree of material existence is explained in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as an Ashwatha tree whose root is upwards and whose branches are downwards. It is recommended here that no one has to cut the root of material existence tree with the axe of detachment. But one has to cut, sorry, one has not no one has to cut the root of this material existence with the acts of detachment. What is the attachment? The attachment involves Prakriti and Purusha. Living entities are trying to lord over material nature. Since the conditioned soul takes material nature to be the object of his enjoyment and it takes portion of the enjoyer, is therefore called Purusha. Devoti questioned Kapila Muni, but she knew that he could cut the attachment to this material world. Living entities in the guise of men and women are trying to enjoy the material energy. Therefore, in sense, everyone is Purusha because Purusha means enjoyer and Prakriti means enjoy. This material world, both the so-called man and so-called woman are imitating the real Purusha. The Supreme Personality of God is actually an enjoyer in the transcendental sense, where all others are Prakriti. The living entities are considered Prakriti. The Bhagavad Gita, matter is analyzed as apara or inferior nature, whereas beyond this inferior nature, there is another superior nature, the living entities. The living entities are also called Prakriti or enjoyed, but under spell of Maya, the living entities are falsely trying to take the position of the enjoyers. This is called samsara bandha or conditioned life. Devoti wanted to get out of this conditional life and place ourselves in full surrender. Word, the Lord is Sharanya, which means the only one worth personality to whom one can fully surrender because he is full of all opulences. If one actually wants relief, the best course is surrender unto the Supreme Personality of God. The Lord is described here as Sadharma Vidam Varishtam. This indicates that all the transcendental occupation best occupation is eternal loving service unto the personality of God. Dharma is sometimes translated as religion, but that is not exactly the meaning. Dharma actually means that which we cannot give up, that which is inseparable from oneself. Warmth of fire is inseparable from fire. Therefore, the warmth is called dharma or nature of fire. Similarly, sadharma means eternal occupation. The eternal occupation is engagement in the transcendental loving service of God. The purpose of Kapila Dev Sankhya philosophy is to propagate pure, uncontaminated devotional service. Therefore, he is addressed here as a most important personality among those who know the transcendental occupation of the living entity. Transcendental Srila Prabhupada, Transcendental Purport Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I go over a prayer. Really. So here, see here. We know the background of this verse that Devaki Mata, she had a nice enjoyment in the aerial mansion. She enjoyed along with with Kardamamuni, and she produced the 9 daughters. But however, in the 23rd chapter, she was lamenting that she has wasted a thousand atoms she has wasted in material sense contribution, and she regrets for that. And she says that you are a pure devotee of the Lord. Kardamamuni was a pure devotee because he had the darshan of the Lord. So since you are a pure devotee, I should have associated with you only for spiritual consciousness. So I wasted my time. So that's why please give me enlightenment how to get out of this material entangle. Then Kardamamuni pleased. And then he says, I have been associating with you, but my association is on the material Sangha, not on the spiritual Sangha. So give me now what is the best way? Because Kardamamuni told Swayambhu Manu that after the marriage, after the children are produced, I will leave for my self-realization. So she understood that the mind of, she could understand the mind of Kardamamuni, and she praised him. And Kardamamuni being satisfied, he says, don't worry, Mata, don't worry, Ma. Don't worry, I will give you a son. And then he impregnates a son, which is Lord Kapila Muni, who appears. And then she specifically asked, get me out of the ignorance and give me the detachment. And also, Brahma is also there. Brahma also says in 3:24:18 very nicely that Devati Mata, don't worry, that you will have a son, Supreme Personality of Godhead, in expanded form, this expansion, and he will give you bhakti so that the knot of ignorance will be destroyed. So she remembered all that. And then when the child grew up, as Lord Kapila Muni, and then Kardama Muni left for the forest for executing pure devotion service. He left for the forest, and then she was associating. And then she started asking questions. So then she remembered, and then she's telling from sixth to seventh, eighth, and then we can see that first, second, two, three, and this chapter is entitled "Glories of Devotion." And then especially this was talking about Purusha and Prakriti. And that's why if you see after speaking devotion service, because she is specifically asking this particular verse about Purusha and Prakriti, he is going to explain this in the 26th chapter, fundamentals of material nature, and 27th chapter about the understanding the material nature. She's going to, Kapila Muni is going to explain nicely 26 and 27 about the Purusha and Prakriti very nicely. The 24 material elements, how they are coming out, how all the 24 the Mahatattva is interacting, time factor, the sound, how the sound is coming, how from the sound everything is coming, how the material creation is happening. He is giving nicely, he is giving the description, 26 and 27 chapter. So we are anyway going to read later. So here, what we understand that in the seventh verse, so since she could remember that Brahma's instruction that she wants to get out of the ignorance, then she tells 7, 8, 9, 10, these verses, the background is very important. So she tells nicely her defects. What is her defect? And then what is Krishna's potency to remove the defects? So she prays nicely in the 7. She says, I have been born in the abyss of ignorance. Abyss of ignorance means because of my uncontrolled senses, disturbed. My senses are disturbing me all the time. Because I'm disturbed by the senses, I am always in the abyss of ignorance. Abyss of ignorance is a big hole, dark hole, where we cannot see light. We cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. It will be very dark. It's a dark hole going inside. Just like you know that they do the drilling, the coal mines and all that. It is very dark. Sometimes people die out of suffocation and all because it's very dark. The same way, there is material. She said that because of my senses are disturbed, and I am in ignorance, the bodily conception. So I am in the hole. Please get me out of this. And then next problem he says, not only this is my problem, there is another problem in me. Another problem is I have a false ego. And thereby I have been absorbed in my material life and absorbed in bodily conception of life. He says I am because of my false ego and I am completely absorbed in material life and absorbed in material conception. And this is because of your external energy of the Lord. 1 second, Prabhuji, there is a problem with the mobile. I'll switch off the mobile. Just, sorry for the disturbance. Sorry, Prabhuji. Sorry. That is getting disturbed. That is disturbing. But she says, this is my defect. Because I am in ignorance, and because of my disturbed senses, I am in ignorance. And also because of my false ego, I am absorbed in material consumption, and therefore I am covered by your external energy. No, but on the contrary, what are you? You are going to remove the defect, and your potency I know. What is your potency? But you are so great that you are the original person, Adi Purusha. You are Adi Deva. You are the Adi Purusha, Adi Deva. So you are the supreme personality of God, right? And you are the original person. And therefore, I am very much grateful to you that you are born in my womb, and I am having a darshan after many, many births. It's very rare to get your association. So it was my by my sukurti, I got you as my son. So I am very happy that because of your mercy, after many, many births, I am having your darshan. So it is very, very difficult to get the darshan of the Lord. We must understand the value of the human life and having the darshan of Srila Prabhupada. We will discuss about it. So then she says, not only that, you are Adi Purusha, you have come to my life. But what is your capacity? You have got the transcendental eye. The transcendental eye is like a sun. So that sun can dissipate all the darkness of abyss, which is the hole. If the sun falls into the hole any hole inside we make in the ground, if the sun goes inside, it will become complete. Darkness will dissipate. So by the sun rays, all the darkness are dissipated. So you are like a transcendental eye which can dissipate my darkness. And also, she says the next verse, she said that these are all okay, but I have to, that it's very important that, okay, you are great, everything is okay, you are going to remove. So then the next thing is we have to surrender. That without surrender, we cannot get the mercy of the Lord. Surrender is required, Even in office also, we may glorify him, but ultimately what does the boss wants? He wants full surrender. Yes, sir. Bhagavatam says. So we have to say yes, sir. Then only he is happy. Whatever he says, you say yes, sir, only he is very happy. So that means surrender. So that's why he says, you are the only means of deliverance and to remove my delusion. And also she says very humbly, if you are pleased by my request, please enlighten me. And then comes to this verse. And then this verse, she is telling that I am taking shelter. Sharanam Sharanyam. It's very important, She says, I am taking shelter of your lotus feet. And then you are the worthy one, only worth. Why I am taking shelter of you? Because you are the worthy person to take shelter. Sharanyam. And then you will act as an axe. You will act and you are not only a transcendental life, you will act as an axe to cut this tree of material attachments. You are Kutaram, you will act as a Kutaram, acts to cut the tree of the material entanglement, as Prabhupada mentioned in the purport. And then once you cut off my detachment, the next stage, what will happen? I will have the desire and seriously inquisitive to know about Purusha and Prakriti. Then I will know what is this Purusha, what is this Prakriti. And thereby I will get the real transcendental knowledge. And not only that, you are the greatest of transcendentalists. Prabhupada writes in the purport, you are going to give me pure devotion service. Sadharma. Sadharma means supreme dharma. Supreme dharma means eternal occupation is Anya Vilasha Sunyam, Jnana Karma Anavartam, Anukulena Shilanam, Krishna Bhakti Uttama. Uttama Bhakti you are going to give me. You are going to give me pure devotion service. Because the 25th is glories of devotion service, and then 28 and 29 is talking about pure devotion service. He's going to talk 3:29:12, I think. Madguna Suni Matrena, Madguna Suti Matrena. That was talks about the pure devotion service. So we are going to talk about the pure devotion service, which is beyond, and therefore you are Sadharma Vidam Varishtam. You are the greatest of all transcendentalists. So that's what we see. Now we go into one by one. Now we have to understand before we get the knowledge, get the attachment, we have to surrender. Surrender is very important. Anywhere in this world, unless we surrender, we cannot get anything. Just we surrender. We just put the belt in the plane. We surrender to the plane. We surrender to the pilot. Pilot says put the belt, we put the belt. So then we are safe. Suppose if we revolt, then they will throw you out of the airplane. They will get you out of the airplane. So the surrender is inevitable. In this world, we are surrendered to everybody, correct? We are surrendered to so many living entities. We are surrendered to our wife. We are surrendered to this our bank balance. We are surrendered to our material assets. We are surrendered to our office. We are surrendered to the boss. We are surrendered so many circumstances, and also we are surrendered. If you go in the we believe that this person will drive properly. If he's not there, then if you don't have the surrender to feel that this fellow will drive, then he will create an accident and he will die. So we are surrendered to everything in this material world, but we don't know which is the worst surrender. And therefore, here the real surrender is towards the Krishna. Maharaj gives a nice example in this particular verse as he has taken. He says that suppose we take shelter of a boss, we find the one after 5 years we work very hard. Suddenly the boss goes away. And then what happens? We were also surrendered to one boss. And then he left. He is retired and went. Now what has happened? We are all being cut by the time, Kala. So we take shelters of temporary shelters. And these temporary shelters crumble down. We depend on so many people. We depend on the bank balance. We depend on the share market. The share market went down, nose dived like anything, from 42,000 to 20,000. I thought I'll put share market to get money. Now everything is gone. Corona is completely. So any shelter we take, that will crumble down. So that's why Maharaj says, Nashwaram. What is that word? Eidam Manasa Vacha Shatrubhyam Shravanadvi. 1177, 11th canto. So everything is Nashwaram, everything is going to be destroyed in this world. But we take these temporary shelters. But Krishna's shelter is wonderful. That's why Kunti Maharani says, Anujivanaha. We don't have any other shelter other than you. He says in 1837, she says Anujivana means surrendering to, depending on anybody other than Krishna. Surrender means we are dependent completely on. So we are dependent on anybody other than Krishna is the utmost sign of misfortune. Prabhupada writes the purport 1837. So it is very important we have to take shelter of Krishna. And why we have to take shelter is very important. Maharaj says that we don't know about the transcendental nature of the Lord. In order to understand the transcendental nature of the Lord, then only we'll understand and surrender to Him. Otherwise, we put conditional surrender to Krishna. There should be unconditional. It's in a, what is that verse? So Maya Santadanyanu Vritya. Maya, Amaya means without any reservation. So we have to surrender to Krishna. Because anyway, in this corona situation, we have no other go except because anytime we can get infected, we can die. Correct? Okay, what about us? We are so gullible, We are not sure. We are not pure devotees. So we can get into corona at any time. So we are completely we are helpless situation. Just like Gajendra, we are circumstantially helpless. Vivasho means we are circumstantially helpless. Idrichya, by the providence. This by providence it has happened. So we are circumstantially helpless. So now we have to take shelter more towards Krishna. It is inevitable that we have to take shelter. Every second we go outside, I don't know when the infection will come. We don't know. We go outside, we buy some vegetables, fruits. We don't know. No? So it is so difficult, but we cannot sit at home. Sometimes we have to buy some vegetables. We have to go out. So we don't know who will give the corona. So it is very difficult. So it is very important. So that's why Maharaj said that the shelter, take firm shelter of Krishna, we should understand the transcendental nature of the Lord. The transcendental nature of the Lord is nicely described in three verses. Maharaj gives them three verses to understand the transcendental. 1138 Bhagavad Gita, Isha Upanishad, first invocation mantra, Om Purnamida Purnamidam, and then the seed verse, 2933, Aham Meshvashme Magri. In all these verses, if we take one by one, let us, Adi Deva. Adi Deva means he's the original Deva. He is the source. And we can see invocation mantra is complete. He says everything is complete. Whatever Krishna has created, now the body is complete. And body is complete means we have to have grains and vegetables. No need for cinemas, no need for factories. Correct? Without that, we are complete. But these are all artificial necessities, Prabhupada says in the pages of Bhagavatam. So it is artificial, there's no need for cinemas. Now what has happened? Nobody goes to cinema. Cinema industry completely closed. Nobody goes to malls. Nobody goes to parks. Nobody goes anywhere. They are sitting at home and there is no problem and they are healthy. They are not eating outside food, hotel food. So they are so healthy. We are not going out. So we are eating healthy food and also our consciousness is good now in this situation. Beautiful. Corona situation is a mercy. Corona is a karuna. Kalchikar was sharing with us. It's a mercy that we are able to associate with all the devotees in the form of this satsang, this WebEx and Zoom meetings, helping us to associate with Krishna. Somehow or other, even though we are physically separated. There is no difference. There is no difference because we are associating personally. There is no difference in identity. Krishna and his name is non-different. And therefore, our association is eternal. Because soul to soul, we are linking. So it is eternal. So no need to worry. And then the invocation of 2933 Prabhupada in the Evam Evasha Megure, and there the supreme personality of Godhead was before the creation. The personality of Godhead was during the creation. The personality of Godhead after the creation. So after the annihilation. He is the only person who exists. So in all circumstances, Krishna exists. And therefore, he is the only person accompanying us as a Paramatma. So he is the first person shelter. Now we will take one particular number name Adideva. Adideva means he is the original person. And also Arjuna says Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. So he is completely pure. You see how Krishna is so powerful. Adideva means he is the original God and he is unlimitedly powerful. Duranta Viryasya. We can see from the page of Bhagavatam. 1, 1, 3, 20, 1330, I think, 1330. There it says that Duranta Veer is unlimitedly powerful. We'll see how the Krishna's potency in the form of pastime, especially the childhood pastimes are very important to understand the glory of Krishna. So what has happened? One day, it was mentioned, it was in the courtyard of Yashoda Mata and Nandamani, that it was 3 months old. Krishna was 3 months old, lying in the lap of Yashoda Mata. What happened one day, 3 months, the child turned from the normal side to turn to the other side, back side. So that day they celebrate as some ceremony called Uttana ceremony. Bhagavatam tells nicely. Uttana ceremony, what she does, she did the ceremony very nicely. And this Uttana ceremony, usually it is celebrated by only the Matajis. Prabhujis are not involved. Just like Navaratri, we celebrate the Golo is only for Matajis, not for Prabhujis. This Prabhuji just accompany. So the same way, this uh, Yashoda Mata is celebrating Uttana ceremony, being Krishna turned from the normal side to the other side. So she is celebrating that, and then Uttana ceremony she calls all the Brahmanas, Gopas, and Gopis, everybody, and also Nanda Maharaj also helps. In the Nanda Utsav, when the child of Krishna, when the child Krishna was born, at the time that was celebrated by Nanda Maharaj. At that time, Yashoda Mata assisted. That's why there is complete cooperation for the service of the Lord. There is no fight. There is no animosity. Why you are doing, I should not serve. There was no ego feeling. And that's how we should behave with the devotees also. Husband and wife also. Never we should take the wife should not take advantage and no show the female chauvinism, or the male should not show male chauvinism. So it is very important from the base of Bhagavatam. So we can understand the loving relationship between Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. So Nanda Maharaj was implicitly obedient and serving Yashoda Mata in doing the ceremony, because the child was to be bathed with all the auspicious waters, and the Brahmanas had to recite the various mantras and chanting the holy names of the Lord. So wonderfully it was done. And in the meantime, what happened? At the time, the Lord began to feel some yawning, and then he started sleeping. So Yashoda could understand that this Uttana ceremony, the child is 3 months old. Naturally, the small child is 3 months old, it is going to sleep. So she thought, by the will of the Lord, by the transcendental will of the Lord, and by the Yogamaya potency, this this particular Yashoda Mata, instead of putting in the cot or putting in the bed, she takes the child and goes to the courtyard, and there is a hand cart. The hand cart, no, which you pull, no, and then the hand cart was full of vessels and utensils and so many things with that. She put the child, and also she sleeps along with the Lord, because she wants to ensure that she sleeps nicely. So it is very important. She sleeps nicely along with the Lord, and patting him on the body, so that he sleeps nicely, so that she can go back again to serve the Brahmanas, the Gopis and Gopas who have come for the Uttana Sarva. So she does it, and then automatically the Lord goes to sleep. In the meantime, Bhagavatam tells that this Shaktashura means he is also called Udgacha. Udgacha is a Rakshasa. He is actually, his body is only made of air, or not other 5 elements. That means he's like a ghost. The ghost sometimes occupies the material body and controls the body, correct? So the same way, this Utkacha enters in the cart, and he devises a plan to kill the Lord. He decides it. In the meantime, you have to understand, Kamsa employs all his demons. Kamsa's nature is unique. He is such a powerful dictator. He is very, very cunning and very smart, expert and very smart. What he does he fights with all these demons, Sakadasura, Bakasura, Agasura. He fights with all the demons, and what he does, he doesn't kill them. What he does, instead of killing them, he just spares them and tell them, from today onwards, you are my slave, and you have to do service according to my convenience. Whenever I call, you have to come and serve me. According to my beg and call, you have to do. I will not beg you. I will call you, you have to come. Agasura, come. Devagasura, come. So like that, they have to obey him implicitly. So that's why he was controlling indirectly all the demons. So he called Sakadasura, you go and kill Krishna. Krishna is in Nanda Maharaj. In the meantime, what has happened, that this Sakadasura enters as a ghost, is in the form of air. He is not in the form of earth. So he is not having the form of earth. So he is entering into the Sakata, which is the hand card, and therefore he entered as Asura, and therefore he called Shaktasura. So he enters, and his original name is Udgaja. This Udgaja enters into the Udgaja enters into the cart, and then what he does, uh, Udgaja enters into the cart, and he was he was planning to kill Krishna. So in the meantime, Krishna, Yashoda Mata leaves to see the Uttana ceremony. So in the meantime, Krishna was looking and started sleeping. And then the Asura was waiting when the Krishna will awake and I will crush him to death. That was his plan. But what has happened, Krishna, after some time, he woke up. And woke up naturally, when the child wakes up, it is natural that a small child always hankering for the association of mother. Correct? She was, and actually, Krishna was so much attracted. Krishna's main duty is not to kill the demons. His main attraction to associate with the devotees. He says in the Bhagavatam, 9:464, Naham Atmanam Asache. I cannot enjoy the spiritual world without my devotees. So he wants the association of Yashoda Mata. Because Yashoda Mata is a pure devotee of the Lord in Vatsalya Bhav. So she wants the association. And she wants the association of the Gopas and Gopis. So he's feeling somewhat vacant that without the association, what to do? And then I have to deal with this Asura. He's not very much keen to get the Asura. So what he does, he started crying. The crying is not heard by Yashoda Mata. So he said, I have to get the attention of the Yashoda Mata, who is busy with the Uttana ceremony. So how to do that? So he plans. Then he kicks off his legs. Naturally, the children kicks off the legs. He kicks the legs, and what happened? Automatically, the hand cart flies over and then drops back, and it is smashed into pieces. And Saktasura was killed instantly without even a trace. He dies. The Asura dies, and then it creates. And because a lot of vessels are put in the hand cart, everything going health and scatter, and it was creating a big noise. So everybody was seeing it was like an atom bomb explosion. So it is like a big bomb explosion, atom bomb. No? We used to fire crackers. That creates so much sound. So it was creating such a sound. Then everybody became alert. What has happened? What has happened? Because they were all worried. They were anxious for Krishna. Their devotion service to Krishna was unparalleled because they were very anxious. We are anxious to see our material things. But here, the devotees are anxious. What has happened to Krishna? They are not worried about hand cart and the vessels. They were anxious to protect Krishna because, especially 2 months back, only Putana came and was killed. So they were very anxious. What has happened to Krishna? Yashodamata ran. Yashodamata was completely. Her mind was reeling. She could not understand, and all the gopis went and saw Krishna was there, nicely playing, and there very nicely. So then they took him, and they were very happy, and they thought that they have killed Asura. And then the gopis and gopas were thinking that how come Krishna has smashed, and it is a small lotus feet. Krishna's lotus feet is just 3 months old lotus feet. Bhagavatam tells that other Puranas, now the Bhagavatam, the other Purana says that his food was tender like a mango leaf, young mango leaf, or like a butter. Butter is so soft, but with that butter soft lotus feet, he just kicked, little kick he gave, and he killed. So that is the potency. He is Adi Deva, and that's why he has got unlimitedly powerful with it. And then here, if you see in this pastime, he has not used the Chakra, he has Sudarshan Chakra, he has not used the Gata, he has not used any other weapon. Whereas if you see in other pastimes, other than this pastime, if you see the Narasimha pastime, he has to use, he has to be big form. This Hiranyakashipu was touching the sky, so powerful. So Narasimha has to increase the size to the size of Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyaksha also is very big in size. And in case of Vamana Raja also, he has to expand and cover this. So in this case, Krishna doesn't have to expand. In the unique pastime of Krishna is supreme personality. That's why he is called Adi Deva. He's transcendentally powerful. So powerful, such a Lord, so powerful. And because of the power, he was able to, just by a simple kick, which was like a lotus flower, it becomes a big thunderbolt for the Udgaja, and Udgaja died instantly. And so then the affection for the devotees, increase in the anxiety of the gopis and gopas increased unlimitedly. They said, "Oh, wow, Krishna has to be protected," and they were thinking, "How Krishna killed this Rakshasa? How is it possible?" They were thinking. In the meantime, what has happened? Some of the gopis, small gopas, we are young children, they told that Krishna just kicked the cart. So how they kicking, they never thought that Krishna is supreme. Because their intense love was such, they were having the love for Krishna is unparalleled, that they want to protect Krishna. That's how and Krishna liked that view. Krishna liked how he protected, Krishna liked it. And that's how we have to serve the deities of the Lord. Krishna wants to protect, and that's why there was one for the Vedanta Deshikar. He was in Srirangam when Muslim invasion happened. He took the deities, he took all the scriptures, and then hide along with the dead bodies because the Muslim people invaded and killed. He was so anxious to save the deity, so much attached to, anxious to save the deity, and the deity of Sri Ranganatha was saved. Especially the Utsavamurti was saved by Vedanta Desika. Otherwise, we will not have darshan of the Ranganatha at all now. We don't have the Ranganatha darshan. So that is the devotees are anxious to save the Lord so much, and that's why Radha Madan Mohan deities, Radha Gopinath deities, all the deities in the Rajasthan are moved to some other places just for the protection because of the Muslim invasion. So much anxiety. That anxiety we should have when we go to Krishna. That anxiety we should come to the Bhagavatam. That anxiety we should go to the Bhagavatam. So this is what has happened. And then what has happened to Udgaja? Udgaja got a transcendental body. Even just by the touch of the Lord, he was completely purified. Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. He was completely purified and he went to the spiritual world. There was a golden chariot with hundreds of horses came and they took him to the spiritual world. And you can see the potency, the matter came to spirit and they got spirit attached to matter, automatically purified. Bhagavan also gives a nice example. I think 111.3, when Krishna entered Dwaraka, he was blowing the conch. When he was blowing the conch, he was having a lotus lips, which is a lotus color, which is almost, we can say, red in color. Whereas the conch is in white. When he touched that, the whole conch became red just by the touch of the lips of the Lord. Lotus lips of the Lord, it became. So that means the matter comes spirit, it becomes purified. Now, presently, we are hearing the Krishna Katha. Maharaj says, when we hear Krishna Katha, our body is not material. He is completely Krishna Katha. We are surcharged with Krishna Katha. Now, 1 hour we are listening. It means we are surcharged with Krishna Katha. We are completely purified of all material consumption. Presently, we don't have envy, we don't have anger, we don't have lust. All these things are absent for the time being. And therefore, our body is surcharged with Krishna Katha. It is completely pure. And also, there is one more pastime. I think in the case of, I think it is 3rd canto, 19th chapter somewhere, where Hiranyaksha was killed. And Brahma sees that Hiranyaksha's body was illuminating. It was not drying up. Usually, when the body dies, it slowly decays. But in case of Hiranyaksha, it was effulgent, Akunda Vachasam. And therefore, every time we take the chanting beats, we are chanting Krishna's names, means we are getting purified. We are touching with the spirit. That means we are getting purified. Every time we take the chanting beats, every time we take the Bhagavatam, every time we take the deity for Abhishekam, every time we associate with the devotees, and every time we come to the program to attend all these classes, we are getting purified. See the potency of the Lord, and we are getting purified. Contamination is so many vasanas are there, but doesn't matter. We are progressing towards Krishna. Just like Maharaj says nicely that we are in the aeroplane. When we take off, we see the movement. That's why in the devotees that when we start, we see the movement. Afterwards, we don't see the movement. And that's why we get frustrated, our faith dwindles. But here we have to understand the aircraft is moving, and therefore we are moving the aircraft of devotional service. Automatically, we are moving towards Krishna. It's very nicely, I think Naradi Prabhu told in one of the class that we are just moving ashore the shore. We are in the ocean of material existence. We are moving slowly, like logs of wood goes to the shore. We are moving towards Krishna. So we should never get discouraged. So the association Udgaja with a deceptive motive, with a malicious attempt to kill the Lord, he is getting purified. And same way, just like this Putana was killed, and then what happened when the body was burned? Aguru smell came, which was purified. So that's why the spirit touched with matter, it gets purified. And that's why we have to understand the spirit always should touch the matter. And if we touch only matter, we'll get deteriorated in this life. So we should always touch the spirit. And therefore, Maharaj says we are able to we tolerate each other because of the existence of the spirit. The matter is there, then we cannot tolerate. Because dead body, we don't tolerate. Even our own father, mother, we just ignore. So that's what we understand. And therefore, he is the real person worthy to take shelter. And Maharaj says very nicely that, so, and therefore we should understand the transcendental quality of the Lord and we are nothing. And Maharaj says very nicely, we are nothing. That's why we remember Manohar Sona's golden statement. We don't have any capacity, we are nothing, we are not required. Okay? Always in any part of the devotional service, we are not required. Without us, everything will function nicely. So that's how it is. We should always, and that's why we should be like a salt. Salt in the water does the job, but it doesn't exist. Maharaj says. Just like a salt, we should do the devotional service and we should not exist. We should do the devotional service and we should not exist there. We should not show. There's no show bottle business. And show bottle business means we are a pseudo devotee. So we should be very careful in the pace of Bhagavatam. So that's why Maharaj says that the human life is very rare. We have got, and in the human life also, Maharaj says, why we have to take shelter of Krishna is human life. First 15, 20 years, we are ignorant. We don't have any intelligence. And the 20 years only we come to the intelligence. And the 20 years to 60 years, we work very hard. Like, parishram, full of parishram. We work very hard. For the few far things, we work very hard. And finally, we are frustrated, completely frustrated. Vipalani, it is only Vipalani. So, what has happened? That this 20 to 60 years, we don't use still time for Krishna and reading Bhagavatam, then we are most unfortunate. We should not leave this opportunity. And Krishna has given the intelligence. And then we are very fortunate. We are under the lead of Prabhupada. And all the books are available. The Gita base is available. Everything is available. In platter. Prabhupada has put toiled and moiled everything for us. He woke up at 1 o'clock and to 5 o'clock. He has done all the translations just for the sake so that we can read Bhagavatam. So you just understand that he has put so much of effort and how much we should be indebted to Prabhupada. We are fortunate to be under Prabhupada's shelter. So the human life is rare, and this we are not young, not to understand this concept of philosophy. We are so fortunate to understand the philosophy also. So we should not misuse this time. And we misuse and we don't chant the holy names. We speak so much philosophy, but we don't chant the holy names. We don't come to the praise of God. Please, please, please. Krishna Prabhupada has given everything. He has put everything, as I said, he has cooked the rice, he has cooked the dal, everything is cooked and put it in our mouth. We have to simply digest, and digest means we have to contemplate and how to apply in our life. This is what we have to understand. And the best example is Prabhupada took shelter. Best example, Prabhupada says that his best example is Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Maharaj says, we think that Maharaj says that he surrendered to Krishna. But Prabhupada was going east and west and north and south. But he could not have so much of Sharanyam was there. So his surrender was complete. So what did he surrender? That's what Maharaj says. We think that he surrendered to Krishna. But if you seriously think, he surrendered to the pages of Bhagavad. And why? He took a vow. He took a vow to translate the whole thing before he dies. He took a vow that he will translate Bhagavatam before he dies. And what has happened? That Srimad Bhagavatam, that Sharanyam, we kick it off. And therefore, we surrender to so many people who work at home and so many people and serve them. We should do our service. But rest of the time, everybody should know and the real see that we are with Bhagavatam. That will protect you. We should be with Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam is a real shelter. If Bhagavatam is a real shelter and Prabhupada is given, we cannot concoct our own of devotion service. If you are really sheltered, Prabhupada seriously thought that Bhagavatam is the only shelter. I have to transcribe. So that's why he took Sharanyam. That's the only shelter. If you seriously see, he took shelter of Bhagavatam. And therefore, we should take shelter of the Bhagavatam. And that is very important. Because time is very short. We don't know how much time. Another opportunity, we will think that we will read after retirement. I'm telling you, after retirement, I am there. I'm not able to read. Because the mind is not there. Because 8 hours I'm absorbed in material concern. Apnimesha Chitta. Apnimesha Chitta means we are absorbed in material things. The mind will not go to Bhagavatam. It's very difficult. Very difficult. So we have to start now. Turnam Yadeta. Now, before the death comes, we should start now. Please, please, Prabhuji's mothers. We should take shelter of Bhagavatam. So, if you are sheltered under Bhagavatam, Maharaj says very nicely, that will protect you. It's a protection. It's a kavacha. It's a kavacha to protect you from the onslaughts of material nature. All the ignorance, everything will protect. So, this Mangalarti, the chanting, the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, everything arranged by Prabhupada. He has given a program very nicely. So, this program is the only way. Because if you take shelter of this same shelter, automatically the acts will be there. The acts of detachment will come. Because Maharaj says, Prabhupada says he has arranged Namanta programs. So many programs he has arranged. The Mangalarti is there, and then weekly program, our hall program is there. So all the programs are there to get detachment from the material. Because we are attached with matter, we are purified. Just like Udgaja was completely purified of material contamination, so we will also be purified. And also, Udgaja got this fortunate because in his previous life, he was a devotee of the Lord. He was not a devotee, but he was he was a son of a devotee. Who know? Jaya Vijaya. He is the son of Hiranyaksha. So what happened? He has got a very big body and he was just trampling upon the trees in the forest. And especially there was a Lomarshi Rishi who was doing a meditation. He trampled upon the forest and the hermitage near the Lomarshi Rishi and trampled and smashed all the trees. Because of the smashing of the trees, what happened? And the sage was disturbed and he cursed him because of your bodily opulence and bodily strength, you are doing this, you will be without any body. And then you cursed to be a ghost. And that's why he was cursed to be a ghost, where you will have only air as an element. All other elements, earth, water, fire, ether will not be there on his body. Only air will be there. He was cursed. But however, then he prayed to the Lomar Rishi, please, I made a mistake, please forgive me. Just like he prayed nicely, just like the Manigura and Manigriva, he prayed nicely to Lomar Rishi. Said, don't worry, next life you will be having association of the Lord. You will go as a Utkacha and you will be relieved from the Utkacha body to a transcendental body and you will go to the spiritual world. So that was the potential. So now that's why we have to understand that we have Saranyam. Real Saranyam means we have to take shelter of Krishna. When we take shelter of Krishna, what happens? So his protection is there. The protection is very important. And therefore, we could not change the program of Prabhupada. Prabhupada is given a program morning, chanting, morning Mangalati, then chanting, then Bhagavatam, the evening. We should not mentally concoct that we can add something, we can delete something. No, no addition, deletion. Maharaj Prabhupada has given 4 regular principles, no addition, deletion. 3, 3.5, 4, no. 4 means 4. There's no reduction. So that we have to be very clear. And this complete detachment will give the acts. And why this Bhagavatam? Why we have to take shelter of Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam is another name, Maharaj says, is Vairagya Vidya. Vairagya Vidya means it is going to give you detachment only. It will not give you attachment. Because Bhagavatam tells, every verse says that we have to get detached. Every verse. If you take any verse in the Bhagavatam, get detached. It says, Yashram Swayamanayam, Krishna Paramavase, Bhakti Putyadayam Sam, Shogamohabhayam. It says every Bhagavatam verse, if you take any verse of Bhagavatam, he says that you will cut the cut of material detachment. Completely, it cuts the material attachment. So this is Vairagya Vidya. So this Vairagya Vidya is so important for us. And therefore we should take shelter. And it acts as a Kuta. And Kutaram. And that's why Devati Mata says that because I've taken shelter, so you act as a Kutaram and remove. And then the Kutaram will give manifest. This detachment should be our nature, Maharaj says. Detachment should be our nature. If it is not our nature, if you are attached, Maharaj says, we will suffer in this material world. And those who are attached, they cannot smile. Detached person smiles. And that's why Krishna always smiles. And Prabhupada always smiles. All the sannyasis, they are smiling. And that's why detached. Because of that, Bhaktichara Swami Maharaj, he was so much detached. He was not afraid of Corona. He was completely detached. He knows that he is going to get a transcendental body. He knows, Krishna knows, and he has written his Vyasa Puja offering also, that I am going to, Prabhupada, I finished all my duties and I am ready to be associate and service. So he's anchoring for the service. He's anxious to render service. This is the quality of a pure devotee. He's not hungering for the spiritual. He's not hungering that I should go to Golok Vrindavan and enjoy and relax. Let me have some sleep because I have not slept in this material world. So much I'm hardworking. I'm getting nothing on out of this. Alpasharidi, so much of problem, frustration only. So let me go to the spiritual world and enjoy. No, I want to be engaged in yourself. So this is the austerity, which is very much important in the devotion service. Without austerity, we cannot. Mangalati means in austerity. Bhagavatam reading is austerity. Bhagavatam also we are afraid. We should plunge into Bhagavatam. Krishna will reveal. We should lovingly and with obedience and a prayerful attitude, with the reverential attitude, we go to the Bhagavatam, it will reveal everything. It will reveal, definitely it will reveal. Why is it not that way? That's what Bhagavatam tells now that verse. With attention, we have to go. What is that? We have to do the endeavor. Endeavor should be on our side. We should surrender to the Bhagavatam means we should do the endeavor to study. And then Krishna Kalena Ati Dirgena. Srinvada Siddhayantam 284 it says. Srinvada Siddhayantam Grananthasti Swachestam. Swachestam means you should do the endeavor. Not that no, your Mataji reads the Bhagavatam and you will get the benefit. No. Vaijanti reads, I will not get the benefit. I will not get the benefit. She will only get the benefit. So then you have to read. You cannot postpone. You cannot give it to somebody else to do the devotion service. We have to do the endeavor to read Bhagavatam. And then Kalena Nati Dirgena, which will not take Krishna Vishade. He is there already there. But he will manifest. Manifestment in the form of realization. It will automatically pour. We may prepare something and the realizations will come differently. So that's how Krishna is controlled. And then she says, the next is Kutaram, the detachment. Where the detachment will come. And the detachment she specifically wants, because she wants to know the Kutaram should act on basically on Prakriti and Purusha. She's specifically asking on that point. It's very important. And this is called the Jignasa. And seriously, Prabhupada said, desire to know. And therefore, we should have the intensive desire to know about Krishna. The intensive desire that we want to cut this tree of attachment. So that intense desire is there. Maharaj says, basically, we are we are not seriously inquisitive because we are lethargic. We are idle. We don't have the entire desire. Maharaj says we don't want to conquer this lethargy. The laziness we don't want to conquer. We will say, no, 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 no. After 60, I will read. After 70, I will read. This will never happen, I'm telling you, this lifetime. Let us enjoy now. Let us enjoy as a Purusha, as I am the Purusha, I will enjoy. Let me enjoy for some time. That's what I was thinking. But we don't know when the death is coming. Corona has come now. Anytime, you know, Abhidavato Brisham, every second, every minute, death is chasing us. We cannot afford to be relaxed. That's why Kalchakatma was telling me that I am so much engaged in the devotional service, I don't have time to talk about anything else because death may come anytime now. So that much of anxiety we should have, that much of anxiousness to render service to Guru and Krishna should be there. We don't know when we'll be alive. And therefore we have to come to the page of shelter of the Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam is only can remove. It will act. That's why this verse tells that cut off detachments. That's why this verse itself is telling. This verse, you take shelter of this verse, automatically you form a form. It will be a detachment. It will give you kutaram. It will access a kutaram. This particular verse will give you kutaram for the material attachments, the tree of material attachment. This verse is 325:11. That's why she is praying to get that detachment. And therefore, we have to be seriously inquisitive. And therefore, we should come to the and the bhakti should be on the basis of foreground of knowledge, Prabhupada says. Seriously inquisitive students. What is that definition? 1 to 12. Prabhupada writes, bhakti means is the devotional service which is on the base ground of foreground of knowledge combined with oral reception of Vedanta Shruti and combined with the detachment is the only perfect process by which seriously inquisitive. We are not serious about it. We are not serious means that means we don't endeavor. Prabhupada, right? Swachestika means we endeavor. Endeavor means it is difficulty. Endeavor means what? We have to put an effort. Correct? Endeavor is means we cannot do on our own. We have to put our effort. Correct? I have to open my Mangala. Endeavor, it's an endeavor to wake up for Mangalati. It's an endeavor to read Bhagavatam. Suppose if I don't do the endeavor, how can I take the class? The endeavor is a must. So even the material endeavors we do very nicely. We don't slack. Morning 6 o'clock because money is there. Money is credited to the bank every month. Automatically we do this endeavor. But in case of spiritual, we don't do this endeavor because we think that we can do it later. So we want to enjoy. So that's why she specifically asked Kutaram. And we will understand how this Kutaram, how this Purusha and Prakriti works on. And therefore, it is mentioned that nicely mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, Uddhamulam Adashakam. This tree is an upside down tree. And what is this tree? How powerful it is? It is mentioned there, Guna Pravruddha Vishaya Prabhala. And then Karmanu Bandhini. Three things are there. This tree of attachment has got three important features. What is that? First is Guna Pravaha. Guna Pravruddha. Guna Pravruddha. That means the material modes. It is increasing all the time. And that's why it is mentioned, Prabhupada nicely mentioned, the tree is nourished by the modes of material nature. We are nourished. How it is nourished, we will see. And then next is Vishaya Pravala. The senses are like the branches. Small twigs means when from the main branch, other branches are formed. The twigs are formed. So it is, and then Karmano Bandhini. Karmano Bandhini means the karma is bound us in this material world again and again. Karmana Bandhini means by fruitive intentions. I do this, I get this. Now, what we want? We want to do some little 20 years of devotional service. I want Krishna to appear in front of me and say, Krishna, I will give you Tatastu, I will take you back to the Godhead. This is what we want. How is it possible? We have done the start at the beginning of the devotional service and we want that. So, this is the fruitive intention. Without any effort, we want. And therefore, it is very important that Guna Pravutta. Pravutta means is to see the mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance means what we do in the devotional service, mode of ignorance. We become lazy. That means we don't want to put endeavor and then we want Krishna's mercy. We want the detachment. How it will happen? It will not happen. So we don't want to put the endeavor to study Bhagavatam and then we want detachment. How it will happen? It will not happen. So it is not possible. And therefore our endeavor is required. So that means we are in ignorance means we are lazy. And also one more aspect of ignorance. Yesterday our Arthabandhu was telling a nice in the Bhagavad Gita class, this that we compare. We compare and we get frustrated also. Comparison leads to two things, sir. How the modes affect. Comparison. Suppose I compare now. I'll compare with the Narari Prabhu and Kalchakar Prabhu. And I see these people are devotees. They have studied Bhagavatam, Ramayanam, so many things. And then we get upset. And they know so many verses. I don't know anything. So I get dissipated, frustrated. What will happen? This comparison leads to frustration. The frustration means we are in ignorance. So that means when you are in ignorance, then this increases. So we go on dwelling on that point. Instead of doing the devotion service, we dwell on that we are frustrated. I cannot know. I cannot recite any single verse in Bhagavatam. I don't know anything of Bhagavad Gita. If by telling that what you are thinking about yourself. You are not thinking about Krishna. See the point behind it. So by thinking of ourselves, we become selfish. That's what Arjuna, what he was thinking. He's telling, I don't want to fight the battle. He says, I cannot enjoy the because my mind is affected. My relatives are dead. So because of full of attachment, Arjuna. But you must understand, Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord. Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita purport, one of the purports, he says that he is put in ignorance just by the will of the Lord. Because what is that? Aradhyapada Sadasevana Sakya Dautya Veerasananugumanasthavana Pranaman Snigdeshu means according to the malleable, anything you can do, just like a what is it the we can make especially they make the dolls. So you can make it any type the dolls. Malleable. Malleable means some metals which is mixed all along mixed. This can be molded in any way. Just like we can mold, then Krishna can mold the pure devotees. And pure devotees doesn't have to learn anything from Krishna. Prabhupada writes in 1917 that devotees doesn't, Arjuna is not in ignorance, we are in ignorance. So the tree of attachment, so that's why the ignorance means we are thinking about ourselves. Comparison means we are comparing. And that's why we do the material. That's why Maharaj says we bring the material baggage into spiritual life. What is the material baggage? We compare. Suppose my child has scored 90%, some child has 93. Oh, we compare. And this comparison puts us in. So this is what we have to understand. Therefore, we have to avoid this comparison. The more we compare, then we go into the abyss of ignorance. Abyss of ignorance, we are going deep into the hole. So don't compare. Every devotee, and that's why we have to remember the verse, beautiful verse. This Sarada Parasavati Sautya, this verse is 116:16. First canto 16, chapter 16 verse. This another verse which says with this verse should stop us from comparing others. We should never compare one devotee and another. This comparison puts us into ignorance. It puts us depression and frustration, and finally it is goes into ignorance. Abyss of ignorance. We go into the ignorance. So never compare. Whatever devotional service we are doing, whatever Krishna has given, we should be happy. Somebody can do kirtan nicely, somebody do prasadam nicely, somebody can organize program nicely. So everybody can do. It's just like Usha Mataji all the time organize so many programs, engage the devotees in devotional service. That amount of passion is engaged in the devotional service, purifies her nicely. So she is always engaged in the devotional service. So if I try to imitate Usha Mataji, Abhirikana Mataji, then I'll be a failure. So we cannot imitate. So I get depressed. What is it? I cannot compare. Whatever is possible, whatever Krishna has given, capacity, whatever we have, little capacity which he has entrusted, that we should use it and in the service of Krishna. That's what we should do. I should not compare. If we get compared, then whole life will be frustrated. So we should do whatever devotional service we can do according to our capacity, little capacity. And Krishna is just like the squirrel was pleased. Rama was pleased with the squirrel service. He was not worried about the Hanuman's big boulder if putting in the ocean. He was happy with the small service rendered by. So we are like squirrel, less than a squirrel. Doesn't matter. Whatever service we do, Krishna recognizes. So that's what we should not compare. And this is the mode of ignorance. And therefore, this is increasing. Pravurta means it is increasing. So nourishment is there. We are nourishing our mind. We are nourishing our mind all the time with this ignorance. Comparison. So the comparison sometimes leads to competitiveness. Competitiveness means what we'll do, we'll compare and compete. I want to compete. I want to become like. I want to become. Then that is a mode of passion. So that also drifts you into the material. So that also the tree of attachment. Pravurta. So pravurta, guna pravurta. Pravurta. That is a very important word. Krishna uses in the Bhagavad Gita. So guna pravurta. And then this is what? And then mode of goodness. Okay, I am in the mode of goodness, everything is okay. Mode of goodness also is a problem. Mode of goodness also problem because what he says, Tattharatvam Nirmatvat, Prakashasham Anamayam, Sukha Sangena Badnati, Jnana Sangena Sanada. What is that? He says that this, when you are in mode of goodness, what happens? We get the knowledge, we become eliminated. And the knowledge comes and the sense of happiness. Once we have knowledge and sense of happiness, both comes. When the sense of happiness comes, we are happy with the devotional service. I'm chanting 2 rounds, 4 rounds. This reading Bhagavatam, this is okay. Next life I will read. I'm happy. And Krishna has put me all the material situations are nice. So you will be in goodness, you will be complacent. Complacent in devotional service. We should be alert. Krishna is alert, aparamataha. So we should be alert in the devotional service. Alert in Krishna conscious. That means suppose we are in goodness and we are happy with whatever devotional service means, We are not alert. Bhaktivinoda Chakra says that I am not doing any devotional service. No? Amito Kangala, he says. Amito Kangala. I am the Kangala. So I am a fool. I am not running after Krishna, he says. So that person is telling, what about us? We are so ignorant. So we should remember that. We should remember that in the mode of goodness also it's very dangerous. Mode of goodness, we want to do philanthropic activities, so many things we want to do. No, so that is not good. So I met somebody while going on the walking. That person said, "I'm taking care of the insurance of my staff. I'm taking care of some 4 cats, 5 dogs. So he's very happy. I'm serving them. So I'm buying them food. I'm buying this. I'm buying this. My staff. I'm paying them the salaries. So in this way, this goodness, they think this is the best thing. I'm very happy because, and he was saying that I was because of the insurance I did. Some insurance removal was done, some operation. I paid 60,000 insurance paid. So they were very happy to me. So fruitive intention. That's karma and anubandhi. Anubandhi means this karma, fruitive intention will give you binding. So Vishaya Pravala. Vishaya Pravala means the senses. Well, once you have one particular mobile, then we want to increase the next mobile. We are attracted by the mobiles, and every 2 years we want to change the cars. And then we Vishaya Pravala means we have one house, we are not happy. We have to have 2, 3 houses so that we get the rent, so that at the retirement we are very happy. So we plan so many things in our lives, Vishaya Pravala. But we don't do this Krishna Pravardha. Bhakti Pravuttatma we don't want to do. It is that in the Narada Muni was doing Bhakti Pravuttatma. Instead of Vishaya Pravala, Krishna Pravala we don't want to do. The Pravala means we should increase the branches. We are increasing our material prosperities. So, Anubandhini, instead of getting bound by Krishna, just like Yashoda Mata was bound by the love of Krishna, we are bound with the karmic instinct. See the beauty? So, the same thing, if it is used in Krishna service, it liberates us. It is a spirit. It is not a matter. It liberates. So, we have to understand this. So, the happiness also binds us. And passion we compete. With the competent means we become envious, we become jealous, and then we become frustrated. So, that's why it will not give you any devotion service. Instead of that, Achakapa was telling we should get inspired, we should follow them, and if it is success, if you follow and you are successful, then we become grateful to them. If it is a failure, then we become humble. That's what we should do. Instead of following, if we want to compare with somebody, we should get inspiration from them and try to follow them. If you try to follow, that is very good. If you are not able to follow, if you follow and we are not able to reach their level, then we will be frustrated. So there will be failure, definitely. If there is a failure, we should become humble. And if it is a success, then we should be grateful to them and we should render service to them. We should render service to Prabhupada. How much we have to render service. So that's what we have to understand. So in this, the material activities we do, and then Purusha and Prakriti, we also, there's one more thing which I want to tell. It is very important. Please, can I speak for some more time? Hare Krishna?
Continue, Prabhu, continue. Don't worry. Don't
Okay,
worry.
okay. So that's so here, instead of satisfying the sense of the Lord, we satisfy ourselves. This guna pravaha, then vishaya pravala, and then karmanubandhini, which binds us. But if it is engaged in the devotional service, because this leads to what? This gives to alpasarini, and then it gives frustration. There's a nice verse in the Bhagavatam, and I want to read the purport also. How the devotional service is so wonderful, so excellent. This purport I see, I get regenerated. I want to go to Prabhupada and hug his body. I feel like that. This purport is transcendental ecstasy, Maharaj says. So we will read the verse. Keshaburi alpasarani karmani vipalani va 8547. Dehinam vishayarthanam na tateva tvayi. Prabhupada writes here, klesha, with hardship, we work like anything. Dog. I worked 20 years in the Adat, Gamco, and Idiot. What they did? Alpasharini, they could not give anything. When I resigned, they just took the paper and said, you go. Nothing. Buri, very much hard. Sometimes when we were doing the integration from one system to another system, I was working up to 9 o'clock. What is the use? Vipalani, everything is frustration. Because that is the nature of the material world. No gratefulness, no kradakja. Only the devotion, the kradakja is there. So frustration is there. And Dehinam. And what we do? Vishaya Arthana. That way Vishaya Pravala. We do for the sense gratification. So then of person Dehinam, because of the body. But not Tataiva. But the devotees, not Tataiva. This is the verse spoken by demigods praying to in the churning of the Milky Ocean. They are praying because they were cursed by Durvasa Muni. They were bereft of all opulence and they were cursed by Durvasa Muni. And because Durvasa Muni cursed them, the demigods become bereft. And the demigods goes to Brahma, and Brahma goes and prays this nice. So he wants to induce Krishna. Devotion service is very attractive. So please give me the benefit. And then from the core of the heart, they put the realization in the form of this verse. This verse is wonderful. He says, Na tataiva arpitam tvai. But when we dedicate our life to you, then it is wonderful. So it is excellent. Tvai, na tataiva arpitam tvai. When I serve you, then it is wonderful. It is excellent. The body is not cooperating. My hand is leg is leg. So when 20 years back, the body was all okay. Now nothing is okay. So this is the nature of the material body. 57 years old, anytime ready to go. So this is why Prabhupada writes in the translation. Please listen to it. Karmis are always anxious to accumulate wealth for their sense gratification. And for that purpose, they must work very hard. Yet, even though they work hard, the results are not satisfying. Indeed, sometimes they work results only in frustration. And I know one of our boss, Girivardhari and Yogesh Prabhu knows. We work for 100 dirhams. My boss will not give promotion. Because why he says it is like bleeding from his heart. He gives companies money and he says it's bleeding from his heart. So this is the nature of the people in this material world. So alpasharidi. Alpasharidi means it is not good result and it is frustration. It is really frustration. So and because of Vishaya Arthanam. But devotees who are dedicated their lives to the service of the Lord can achieve substantial result without working very hard. Tataiva arpitam. Tataiva arpitam means Twayi. Those people are not, but Prabhupada is transcendental realization. This translation is a transcendental. This they say Nata Tataiva arpitam. That means what is it? Like that, when we offer to you Lordship, it will not be a frustration. Just a single word. Sanskrit word is like that, but Prabhupada puts the translation. And then add one more realization. Then he says, but devotees who have dedicated their life to the service of the Lord can achieve substantial results without working very hard. These results exceed devotees' expectation. Wonderful. How much you, I feel like asking Prabhupada, you know. I want to, how much Bhakti Siddhanta and Krishna should be dancing by reading this. Just by printing of this book, Prabhupada, all Bhakti Siddhanta will be dancing in the Golak Vrindam. Oh, how wonderfully my disciple has written. How much he should be happy. Please see them. Just read this purport, you get rejuvenated. This is where we Putaram. This enjoyment of the devotion service, we are enjoying for the pleasure of Krishna, then automatically it becomes acts as a Putaram. Putaram means acts as the cut of detachment. It completely detaches from the material. So wonderful. We can see practically, Prabhupada writes in the purport. Please read. I'm going to read that. We can practically see how the devotees who have dedicated their lives for the service of the Lord in the Krishna conscious movement are getting immense opportunities for the service of the Lord. Just you see the Mangalarti, they go, they attend the Bhagavatam class, especially full-time devotees. They have to do some service, whatever service, book distribution and all. And then they are free evening prasadam, morning prasadam. They don't have to work 24 hours with targets, goals, objectives, and then all the problems and all the time boss will be sending emails after emails harass you. And I used to receive every day 100 emails. Now I have to answer. And that's why emailing itself will take 4 hours for me to answer. And some questions very implicated, it will take your time. So that's how the material world is a frustration. But here, there's no email. Just you have to do loving the devotion service. Just to take the Mridanga and Mridang Bajana. So, so the Krishna conscious movement are getting immense opportunities. The Krishna conscious movement actually started with only 40 rupees. Prabhupada says the results. What is the result? But now it is more than 40 crores. Now it is worth $400 billion. No karmi can expect to improve the business. Maharaj used to say this statement. I was thinking where from he's saying. He's saying from this purpose. No karmi can expect to improve his business so swiftly. And besides, whatever karma is acquired is temporary and sometimes frustrated. Because whatever devotion service we do, this is eternal. Because this property, Prabhupada might have left this world, but Prabhupada we are remembering because Prabhupada is there ever. Prabhupada is more alive than all of us together. Even today, because we are doing the Prabhupada Arati. Every day Prabhupada Arati is being done all over the world. Even with the limited number of devotees, with no devotees, it is being done. Glorification of Prabhupada. Now we are glorifying Prabhupada. See, every second of the existence, 24 hours glorification is done. That means he is present. That means his presence is there and he is the proprietor of all the ISKCON temples. Correct? No doubt about it. So you understand, and therefore is eternal. And therefore Prabhupada says all these opulence has been achieved within 8 and 10 years. No karmi can expect to improve his business so swiftly, and sometimes but the karmi acquires a temporary and sometimes it's frustrating because our assets and properties are not what we do in the mode of so we compare. No, sometimes I told about comparison. What we do today we have Honda, now we will buy a Honda four-wheeler, 4x4 we'll buy, or we'll buy the Toyota 4x4. So we go on every 2 years because we get frustrated with the old car, we buy a new one. You know, just like I purchased one scooter, I was so much attached to it for first 2 months. But I was driving so many kilometers. Now I'll go for essential work, no attachment, because that is the nature of the material. It will not give you transcendental pressure. But the devotional service will increase. So it's temporary and sometimes frustrating. In Krishna conscious movement, however, everything is encouraging and improving. Nonetheless, Prabhupada writes in the book, this is the highlight of the statement we should remember. So, nonetheless, in the presence of so many enemies, this movement is progressing, going toward without impediments. The devotion service is going, the number of devotees is increasing. If the devotees, Prabhupada request us, he's crying from his heart. If the devotees continue to spread this movement, that means the preaching should be there. Preaching is the essence, 7:6:24 says. Spread this movement, dedicating life and soul. That means Toy Arpita. Dedicating the life and soul to the lotus feet of Krishna, no one will be able to take it. And then Prabhupada writes this transcendental ecstatic statement, the golden statement, which can be inscribed in the, which can be put in some, we can put in a stone and inscribe it nicely. He says, the movement will go forward without limits. Chant Hare Krishna. Beautiful statement. Please, please repeat after me. No need. We used to repeat. No, I want you to repeat. Somebody can repeat me the movement. Somebody can repeat with me. The movement will go forward
The movement will go forward
without limits.
without limits.
Chant Hare Krishna.
Chant Hare Krishna.
Haribol. So wonderful it is. This is a secret of Krishna consciousness. So, and then he says, we will find to finish with that. So, this is the movement, and therefore, this Putaram acts, and therefore, the serious inquisitiveness will be there. So, the more we go into pages of the Bhagavatam, and actually, this verse was spoken by our Kalchakar Prabhu in one of the class. He was taking Tamil classes somewhere. Then, the moment he told this verse, I was attracted. And then he told about 40 and 45. Then I went to the purport. And I saw that how much Prabhupada, when he wrote, how much he should be crying from his heart to write this purport. So how much, and here, what we can see, Prabhupada is not boasting himself. Prabhupada is grateful to his spiritual master. Prabhupada is grateful to the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada is grateful to the Lord. So the Kritagna is there. The Kritagna will increase. And because he followed, he took the inspiration from his spiritual master, he followed the instruction of his spiritual master, and he was successful. And the success, he becomes Kritagna. And the Kritagna means he was engaged in the more service of the Lord. He was not just, okay, I got 40 crores, let me enjoy for some time. No, that is a materialist. Spiritual means we'll go on increase. That means more austerity. So it is means what we have to do is we have to understand the mode of ignorance means we always think about ourselves. Comparison means we are thinking. The more we think about ourselves, we cannot think about others, the preaching will not happen, and we cannot think about Krishna. So you understand the main thing point behind it. I was also doing like that. I'm telling you, I have the experience that I was thinking about myself. The moment you think about yourself is frustration. The more you think about Krishna, the more you think about others, then comes the sacrifice, and that comes the austerity. And transcendence means, yesterday very nicely our Atmabandhu was saying, transcendence means austerity. Without austerity, we cannot get transcendence. Transcendence means Krishna. So without austerity, the Gopas and Gopas not get the mercy of Krishna. They were doing so much austerity to serve Krishna so lovingly. They were so anxious to serve all the time, 24 hours. They were engaged. Yashoda Mata was churning the milk. She was putting so much effort. 10th canto, 9th chapter. Her hair was falling. She was sweating just to make best word for Krishna. So that sweating is important. And she was swiftly running. I think what is that word? I forgot the word. I think 10th canto, 9th chapter. Swiftly, she was swiftly running after Krishna. And that's what we have to do. And then, one second, Prabhu, just my PC is a problem. Just 1 second. Sadharma, pure devotional service is given. Pure devotional service means Your devotion service means what? Anya Bilasha, without any motive, without any fruitive motivation, and without any modes. So we have to go to the place of Bhagavatam. We have to take shelter, and therefore the conclusion is what is very conclusion is Sharam Sharanyam. Our Sharam Sharanyam is our Guru and Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam should be our shelter. He is the one taking shelter and gives you protection.
Prabhu, unable to hear you. Haribol, unable to
Yes,
hear
Prabhu,
you.
now?
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah. If you turn, it's not. We are not able to hear you. Please, you can repeat again.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So Maharaj says very nicely, we have to improve our behavior, which is very important. Since so many years we are hearing Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, so we are not touching the purity. Then what we are discussing daily, day in and out, we have to be God on earth. God, nobody is going to guard you. Maharaj says nobody is going to guard your behavior. So we have to guard. We have to guard means we have to see how many, because by nature we have the four defects. That is the imperfect senses, the cheating propensity, commit mistakes, and then will illusion. So it is natural. And every day, yesterday Gopal Prabhu was giving a class. He's telling that every day 10 minutes we should take in the night and see what are all the mistakes we have done and how to repent for that regret sincerely, correct that mistakes. And that is what is very important in the devotional service. Should contemplate every day night for 10 minutes what are the mistakes we have done, whether we have done chanting properly, whether we have done the Bhagavatam reading properly, whether we have behaved with the devotees properly, our behavior is all right, whether we have purified our consciousness, we are in touch with the spirit. So these are the things we have to evaluate for 10 minutes, and we should sincerely regret and we should see the cause for that committing the mistake, and that should be rectified. And that should be our aim. If you do that, then automatically Krishna is pleased, because Atapyamana Hridaye Avasidam Namami. Sincere repentance means Krishna will manifest in our hearts and purify all our defects. Krishna is there. Atapyamana Hridaye Avasidam Namami. Atapyamana means the repentant heart, Krishna comes and occupies. So that is a beauty we have to understand. And therefore Maharaj says, purity, the confidential thing of purity, Maharaj was saying very nicely, the more purity you have, the more things will be arranged and according to your will. And that's what arranged. Prabhupada initially, he was not getting anything. The purity was there. Because of the purity, what happened? All the devotees came. And purity was so powerful. And purity, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. The spirit is so powerful. And therefore, 40 rupees was manifested into 40 crores, $400 billion. And that's why there was one devotee, I remember. That devotee is actually there was Tan and Am, two devotees. So they were doing nice devotion service, Mangalarti in Association of Prabhupada. They were doing nice, they were all drug addicts and they were drinkers and all. So they were doing EPs, they were doing the devotion service under the guidance of Prabhupada in New York. They said that they want to go to San Francisco and they got a friend, Sam and Margore. So we want to go and associate with them and we can get a lot of devotees because they are very good singers, pop singers, and so that we can get more devotees. Prabhupada said, you go. And Prabhupada said, I will also come. So they went there, and those people, and Sam and Marbury was about to die, commit suicide. They were about to commit suicide, and they were drugs addicts, and they were so much in high in the taking the drugs. And then this Tan and M went there and purified them and did Mangalarti. And tell them, please join the Mangalarti. If you join the Mangalarti, we can stay high forever in the devotion service. When they said like that, when they said that your devotional service will be excellent, then they came to the program, they attended the program nicely. Because of the association of the devotees, they became purified. And what happened? 60 devotees were formed. And then when Prabhupada came to San Francisco, 60 devotees, they were offering flowers because of the purity. Prabhupada's purity is unparalleled. So your purity means you was completely Guru Deva Tatma. He has taken Prabhupada take as a spiritual master, Guru, as our Supreme Lord, that Sakshat Daritvena, and also taking the Bhagavatam as Guru Deva Tatma. He's my Guru, and I will never leave the shelter of Bhagavatam. So we should always take the shelter of Bhagavatam, and that is what we have done. Come out of these modes. And therefore we understand from purity is also very important. Shelter of Krishna, and then
Sorry, repeat again. Nothing is heard.
Hello, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you. When you turn your face, the audio goes off. Please.
Okay. Saranam. Sorry. Because I'm seeing my preparation. So Saranam. We take shelter of Krishna, Prabhupada in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then that is a firm shelter that will give you protection, that will give you purity, that acts as a kutaram. acts of detachment. And that attachment will not give you guna sampravaha, guna pravardha, vishaya pravala, karmanubandhini. And then anusantadani. Anusantadani means, Prabhupada, Krishna says, anusantadani means it is going on increasing. That the trees and branches is expanding like anything. And our our desires are increasing unlimited. Very nice, you know. Krishna is so intelligent right in the Bhagavad Gita. I am astounded by that statement. So we should see how nicely Krishna has written also. Very intelligent. He just in one verse he has given the entire philosophy of this tree, how to get detached. And then here the tree of detachment is come from the Sharanya. When you take firm shelter of Krishna, we get protection, we get purity, and we get the detachment from the material association, and then we become seriously inquisitive. Seriously inquisitive means we will not be lazy, and therefore we will not be in ignorance, we will not compare, we will not do the competition, but we engage in devotional service in full enthusiasm and vigor. Utsaha nisyaya dharya tatta dharma prabhata. Sangatyaga satogate shabdit bhakti prasiddhati. Then it becomes a pure devotional service. And Prabhupada assures, if you have the six Utsaha, Tichaya, Dhairya, we should be patient also. We should not think that I do the devotional service and then immediately Krishna should come. I am doing the devotional service, Krishna should come in front of me. All the relations of Bhagavad will come. No, it is a slow process. It's a process, you know. David Prabhu was saying in another class, it's not it is not a 100 feet race. It's a marathon. So many lives we are not in the taken shelter of Krishna. So we should use this opportunity to take shelter of Bhagavatam, and we should not worry. We should be patient. Then Tatat Kirma Pravana. We should be engaged in the chanting and hearing. Sangatyaga. Sangata means association, the material association. All these material modes, Vishay Pravala, we should leave that association with the acts of detachment. That means we have to take shelter of Bhagavatam and take shelter of the devotees. Pure devotees we should take, and especially Prabhupada Bhagavatam is a Vairag Vidya. It will liberate you from this Jignasam. Then we will seriously inquisitive. And we are seriously inquisitive, then the pure devotional service. Then pure devotional service manifests, and then there is no need. Then, like Utkacha, the transcendental planet with this Ratha will come, will take you back to Krishna. What else we want? Hare Krishna. Bhagavan Granthaj ki, Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai, Srila Gurudev ki, Jai. Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Sometimes, sorry, I've taken some time. Sorry for that.
Prabhuji,
Any questions?
you said
Any
something about
objections?
Words about comparison. You didn't tell the verse.
comparison.
No, comparison is the material quality. There is no verse. Ah,
No,
verse. Okay, okay. Verse I forgot. Okay.
You said you.
Comparison means, yes, yes, I forgot verse. Sorry. That is 7:13:42. Sobhava Vishamam Janam. Every living entity is unique. Sobha 7:13:42. What is the Nahan Ninde Najastomi Sobhava Vishamam Janam? And we should agree to be with the super soul. That we should agree, pray to Krishna that we agree with them. Because we know different people have different mentalities. My mentality is different, Vaijanti mentality is different, totally opposite. So we have to accept the devotional service of each separate. 7:13. That's the verse I forgot. Naham Ninde Najastam. Yesterday, Arthibundhu Prabhu took a wonderful class. Really. Thank you very much. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Any
Krishna
questions?
Prabhu.
Any objections? Please tell me.
Hare
So
Krishna
I've spoken
Prabhu.
some nonsense also. Maybe.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
I am
Pranam,
audible, Prabhu.
Yes,
Prabhu,
Prabhu.
thank you so much for nice class, Prabhu. One point what you mentioned, which is very nice, it touched my heart. That is, you have told that we should take some time in a day, say 10 minutes, just to contemplate of the offenses.
It is not my Prabhu, it is not my realization. It was a realization by Gopal Krishna Prabhu. He spoke yesterday in class regarding the repentance. He spoke. So I remembered that. It is a very good point. Yeah. So all
On
credit
that
goes to
point,
Gopal Krishna Prabhu. Yeah. Very highly elevated devotee. Yeah. Yes.
thank you, Prabhu. So many a times what happens basically when we start concentrating on that, what first of all, how to identify that I, because many a times even though there is offense I committed, but because of my weak sadhana and all these things, we get always justified that, and
I'm
then
not.
it is very hard to
No,
very
I'm not
hard
able
to
to follow it. Your voice is breaking.
sorry, Prabhu, is it okay now, Prabhu?
Tell me now. Tell me. Yes.
Yeah, say for example, on before they were just contemplating on that what kind of offense I made in a day, and then seriously repenting on that. In many
Okay.
times we get convinced that what because identification of that really I did offense means I get a false justification because of the we sadhana, you're getting to what I'm just trying to say, how to identify, because many a times whatever we commit, even though those are often, but because of our weak sadhana, we cannot identify them, these are the often saying. So,
Okay. You are not able to
if you
identify
can,
the. You are not able to
yeah,
identify the mistakes, correct?
yeah. If you can give some guidance on that, that would be nice.
Okay. Okay. You are not able to identify, Prabhu, what we should do. No need to worry that what mistakes you have done sometimes because we are in the modes and we are committing mistakes. Sometimes we want to justify ourselves that whatever done is correct, even though we don't feel that we have done the offense. I also feel like that. A lot of times I have offended so many devotees in Abu Dhabi, and I felt I was right, but that is not correct. So what we should do, Prabhu, we should sincerely regret whatever mistakes, knowingly or unknowingly. And then there is a nice verse. There's a nice verse by, I think, Brahma's praise, I think. 10:4, 1 second, 10:4:8, I think. 10:4:8, not 8, sorry. I think 10:4, 1 second. 1 second, Prabhu, I will tell you. 10:14, 10:14, sorry. Beautiful verse. Yes, I got it. 10:4:10. This verse we can pray very nicely. Hare Krishna.
Please tell that verse and explain to that will be nice.
10:14:10. 10th canto, 14th chapter, 10. Ata samatva chutame rajobo ajanatasthat pritagishamaninah ajavale pantamonda chakshusha yeshod gampyo mainatavanidhi. What it says, Ata samatva, please excuse me, Krishna. You know, because I am taking the rajobo, I am born in the mode of raja. That means you are Achyuta, you are infallible. He says, I am born in the mode of passion. Rajobo, I am born in the mode of passion. And then Ajananda, because I am ignorant. Prithagisha Manina, I think separately. That we think that this devotee is separate from Krishna. That's the reason we have done the offense. We don't think that we have not done any offense. Correct? Prithagisha Manina. We are thinking everybody is separate. We should think everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. The whole Bhagavatam tells us that we should remember everybody is Krishna. So, and then he says very nicely that since I am the unborn creator, Ajavalepan Tamon the Sakshusha, I am going into the darkness of ignorance, abyss. Just like this Devati Mata says, abyss means whole of ignorance. Tamon the Sakshusha, my eyes are not there. So, Yesho no Kampyo, but you are Isha. So you just give me the mercy. Therefore, infallible Lord, kindly excuse my offenses. I have taken birth in the mode of passion and therefore simply foolish, receiving myself the controller of your lordship, independent of your lordship, independent. Pratakisha Maninaha. My eyes are blinded by the darkness of ignorance, which causes me to think of myself as the unborn creator. So that means we think whatever I did is correct, what the devotee did is not correct. So that's what unborn creator. We think that we are not correct. But please consider that I am your servant. My Nathavan, you are my Natha. So therefore I am worthy of your compassion because I am you are my master. I am your slave. So I am your devotee. So please forgive me for all the offenses. So we can pray every day. Suppose if you don't know or know the offense, doesn't matter. You can pray to Krishna like this. This is a beautiful verse, Atasamatva. And there is one more verse also is there. I don't know remember the verse. There is one more verse.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, hope this helps, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Girivardhari Prabhu and all the devotees for giving an opportunity to serve the Abu Dhabi congregation, which is my heart and soul, So I cannot. I'm still in Chennai, but my mind is only in Abu Dhabi. My
Hare
mind is anchoring only in Abu Dhabi.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu here, Prabhuji. How are you?
I'm fine, my Krishna.
Prabhuji, I just would like to know that, the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says that total universal body is covered by 7 layers, Lokam Deham Tanute Mahan Sabdabir Avritam. Sabdabir. There are with the 7 layers. We know the 5 layers like earth, water, fire, air, and ether. What are the other 2 layers, Prabhuji?
Frankly speaking, I'm not very much confident. I will check with Narari Prabhu or Kalchakar Prabhu and come back to you because I don't have much knowledge. Especially the creation is a very difficult subject matter. My intelligence is not up to that level, bro. So I'm not able to tell you 7 layers. 5 layers we know. Maybe
Yeah.
I think maybe false ego, maybe mind intelligence, maybe something like that. But I don't know. So you just send me a WhatsApp message for that. I'm putting that. Then I'll try to get the
Okay.
information and send it to you first. Okay.
Okay, because this is I've seen in this what you call Canto 3, 329, 43. It says
Okay.
Subhan Sabdabir Abratam 329, 43. In the trans purport also, Prabhupada is explaining that earth and the water is 10 times greater than earth.
Correct,
And
correct, correct. 10 times covering it.
10
Yes,
times
yes.
greater. Yeah, he explained up to that, but he did not cover all the 7. That's why I had a doubt.
Okay, okay. Then we will check with somebody, some devotee. So
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay,
the
Prabhuji. Hare
technical
Krishna.
details, I'm not very good in the technical details.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
10, 14, 12. Ah, yes. Yeah, that is also verse. Yes, nice verse. Yes. Yes. Yes, Mataji. 10, 14, 12. Yes. Yes. What is the 6, 16, 37? What is this? Earth, water, fire. Ah, yes, given Prabhu. Total energy and false ego. Prabhu. Rajendra Suresh Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, 6, 16, 37. Your answer is there.
6. Can you tell me, Prabhu?
The other two are layers are total energy and false ego.
Total energy in false ego. 616. What is the verse, Prabhu?
37. 6, 16, 37. The verse is there, result is there.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Karthik
Hare
has
Krishna.
sent.
Thank you.
Karthik,
Thank you.
Karthik has sent.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Karthik, thank you very much, Karthik. Very good. How did you get this verse? I'm very impressed. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. We'll close now. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Oh, Simi Mataji ki jai. Yes, seriously inquisitive student.
No, Prabhuji, not inquisitive. Prabhuji, my question is, you said regarding the detachment, no? Prabhuji,
Correct.
we are living in the material world, we are surrounded by our family members, everybody.
Correct, correct.
We have to, we are like a mother, we are attached to our children, like a wife,
Correct,
we are
correct.
attached to our husband, like a
Correct,
sister, we
correct.
are attached to our family members. So, doing Krishna service, how can we simultaneously, I mean, we cannot have two modes of mind in ourselves, that okay,
Correct.
we have to be detached with them, but then it would be like showing different sort of face to them, no? So
Correct.
how to balance it? I mean, okay, we cannot just do the duty for the sake of duty, we cannot show artificial love to our children.
Correct, correct.
So how we should do that? The detachment, the attachment of course is there with Krishna, but how to have detachment also, because we cannot do all our love for the sake of as a duty. So I
Yeah.
am just
Okay.
confused in that statement.
Okay, okay. Okay, okay. So what Maharaj says that in this material world, actually, if you see Bhagavad Gita 9.19, spirit and matter are same, Krishna says. So there is no question of difference between spirit and matter is also coming from Krishna, correct?
Yeah.
The material world. So the so-called living entities who come, they are also part and parcel of Krishna, correct?
Yes, yes.
Your wife, your husband, your son, your daughter, they are all part and parcel of Krishna. So our consciousness is very important, Mataji. Our consciousness on the material platform and guna pravaha, we get attached, then it is a bondage. But it is on the platform of the devotional service. I'm serving them because they are part and parcel of Krishna. It's only the consciousness needs to be changed. But it is not so easy. I'm telling you like that. I'm serving my wife in the consciousness of Krishna. No, that's very difficult. But we have to pray to Krishna one day. We have the consciousness. And that mode of detachment, the detachment nature should come. Vairagya Vidya will come by constantly associating with Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is the only way. Vairagya Vidya it is called. So that will give you the detachment. So then that detachment is not so easy. If you see, when Abhimanyu was killed, Arjuna was crying. Naturally, he was crying. Krishna was smiling, but Arjuna was crying. Okay? The whole Pandavas were crying when Abhimanyu was killed. So it is natural, Prabhu, Mataji. It is not so easy. But what we have to do is, we have to deal everybody from the Krishna conscious angle. That means we are serving our people also. As just like as I told you, Nanda Maharani and Yashoda Mata, they were not thinking bodies. They were thinking that they are all servant of Krishna and serving each other. That service mentality to serve Krishna as a center, if then as a Krishna conscious, seeing Krishna in everybody. That's why Krishna says in the Bhagavatam also, we have to see Krishna in every page. The whole objective of Krishna consciousness is to see Krishna in everything, whether material or spiritual. That is the highest level of consciousness. That is not so easy. So that is not so easy, very difficult, I know. But we should pray to Krishna and we should see everybody as a Krishna Dash, Krishna conscious. This my son Abhinesh. Abhinesh is nothing but and Anikesh is nothing but part and parcel of Krishna. Paramatma is sitting there. So that consciousness we have to develop. The consciousness is not so easy, but it's a slow process. As I said, we are not running 100-meter race, we are running a marathon. So that's why we have to pray to Krishna intensively. Give the mode of detachment, detached attachment. Detachment means Maharaj means does not mean be careless. We are not careless in our material duties. We do it nicely and offer it to Krishna. Whatever service we do to our children also, which should be offered to Krishna. That's how we should do with it. That consciousness we should develop. It is not so easy. It will take time. But don't worry about it. That's why we have to pray to Krishna. Atas samatva chutame rajamu. This verse is very nice. 10, 14, 10. So we pray to Krishna again and again that I am in the ignorance, I am in the bodily attachment, I am comparing, I am competitiveness, all these natures are there. So please remove this darkness of ignorance. We have to pray. Atas samatva. We can always pray for his forgiveness so that he will give his mercy. The mercy will come, Mataji. Krishna will give the mercy. Don't worry too much about it. Just see the angle of Krishna. That's all. We should serve everybody as a devotee of Krishna. Then what will happen? You will be very careful. Huh? See, just a small ant also is part and parcel of Krishna. So that means we become careful. Just like Jadabharadam, we saw the ants, he started jumping while taking the palak for Raghuguna. So that's how we consciousness needs. It is a slow process. Shanai. Because this cannot be done immediately. It just takes time. Bhakti Yoga, the Bhakti devotion service is so pure. So it will purify. That's why you can see beyond their expectation. That's why we see Prabhupada, he's exceeded beyond the expectation. The 40 rupees has become 40 crores. So the devotion service will manifest, but it will not be seen. It will not be realized by you tangibly. Tangibly means it is not visible. It is subtle. Devotion service is subtle related to the soul. So your consciousness and detachment automatically happening. Uttaram is already happening. So now we are attached to the Bhagavatam, we are detached from material. So you're thinking about it, your detachment happens. The more you think about this, you go home and think about this verse, the detachment will happen. So the more we contemplate on these verses, the detachment will happen, and we will be attached on the transcendental platform. We are attached to the people on the transcendental platform, not on the material platform. The material will go, but it is not so easy, Mataji. Don't worry too much about it. Just we have to execute the devotion service. That's all. In the mode of detachment. Even devotion service has to be done with the generation. If I say, suppose I have taken the class, all the people have to give me mala and appreciate me and send me an email saying that I have done the nice class, then that means we are in the mode of ignorance. Moment we expect, we are in ignorance. So that's how we should do. We should serve them nicely without any attachment. That's what I think, Mataji. That's what Maharaj has told, whatever little knowledge I have shared. Hope
Okay,
this
Prabhuji.
helps you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, now it's clear.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
We close now. Yes, Prabhu, Sadashiv Prabhu, Tandarpanams.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Just one point regarding surrendering to Bhagavatam, which Maharaj had spoken in his class on this verse, and what you just repeated. One thing which came to my mind is even when Srila Prabhupada was before even going to USA, he was so much anxious to translate Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto even. So much anxious, and he struggled so much to translate because he wanted all the Americans to or foreigners, English-speaking people to surrender to Bhagavatam. Otherwise, what will he give? Because they cannot understand Sanskrit. And it was so much important for him to translate this volume, and he took that volume with him on the Jalduta ship, and the first thing when he had those volumes in his hand, he was confident, I have something for them to surrender to, and
Correct. Yes, no, very good. Actually, what our Maharaj says that the first canto and second canto, Prabhupada, whatever religions he had in the 10 cantos, he has put it in first and second canto. Because he was thinking that he may not be alive. So he was so much feeling urgent to do the devotional service. So that's what I think, bro. So he was putting all the efforts. Bro, Maharaj says that his first and second canto has got the lotus feet of the Lord. It's called lotus feet. And therefore, he has put everything there. In the lotus feet, he has put everything. And then Krishna allowed him to write up to 10th canto, first chapter. That's why we are missing the. And then he has empowered his disciples to write the other. And then he did the Chaitanya Satamrita. It's a Bengali. So he thought he will transcribe everything, entire Bengali also. He was simultaneously doing it. Oh, 1 to 5. He has sacrificed so much. So that's why there was so much tapas. Without austerity, we cannot do transcendence. Austerity is to be there. Very nice point yesterday. Arthabandham. Without austerity, we cannot touch the transcendence. Austerity is a basic ingredient for transcendence.
And similar to this 8547, which verse you have just referred, and Maharaj has also referred one verse in his lecture on this verse, same 325:11, about 519:27 on one of the questions which was asked to him.
Yeah, 519. That's talked about the desires. Yes. Yeah, because yes, correct, you are right, absolutely right. 519:27. That purport is very good. Where we are asking for material desires, Prabhupada gives Krishna says he gives the lotus feet. There's a nice discussion Prabhupada has written very nicely, the 599. When we go for material desires to Krishna, Krishna purifies the desires and then he gives his lotus feet. And therefore the devotee doesn't ask for anything. Just like Dhruva Maharaj. He said that I'm asking for pieces of glass and I've got the golden diamond from you. So he says, no, Swamin Kruto Dosmi. He says, I don't want any vara. I just have the darshan of the Lord. So Krishna gives the lotus. 519:27. Yes. There's a beautiful verse. Satyam Vidash. Yes, yes. I didn't mention that, yes. Because the time I did mention about this. Yes, that's very important verse. I was supposed to mention that I missed it. Because I was concentrating on other things, so I'm not able. Yes, that are also I should mention. Yes, very nice. You have very good point you have. 519:27 also is very important. Yes. That also people should read. People should read. Okay. That will also act as a kutaram.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this all these verses. There are so many now. We are busy for a week now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for giving this 519:27, which I did not speak about. Yeah, I missed it actually. Because if we speak so many things, we don't have time in 1 hour. Time is the essence. So many things we have to speak. Sometimes we miss. Anyway, I missed it. It's my mistake only. I would say I'll blame myself. Thank you for highlighting. Okay. Thank you very much. Stop here, Prabhu. Girivardhari, stop it now. Close.
Yeah, Prabhu, thank you very much. Very nice, wonderful realizations from you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hari Bol, Krishna.
We'll close now.
Yeah, we will close the session, Prabhu, I think.
No problem. Sorry for late. Sorry. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No problem, Prabhu.
यो वैष्णवेभ्यो पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो. So Avatari Desh devotees ki jai. Thank you very much. I miss all of you, bro. I miss you. Every day I miss you.
We also miss you, Prabhu. At least by this we are able to touch with you, Prabhu.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.